Every now and then we have someone here in the studio, sometimes new to me, but a longtime friend that I've had here in Saskatoon, Ron Morris, and now another author for a second go-round, formerly with Morris Interactive. Ron, thanks so much for coming to the studio today.
No, thanks for having me, Randy. And you can say an old friend,
An old
not a long-time friend. Sure. Both.
Yeah, it fits. I want to congratulate you on happiness, the 40% solution, and talk a little bit about how it came to be. You've got a rich history in Saskatoon, and how Ron Morris came to be where he is today. What did you start out doing, and how did you come to do this today?
Right. Well, it really started. I was doing a lot of free talks years and years and years ago, and somebody I think it was a Lions Club actually in Rosetown, paid me to do a bit of a talk. So a star was born, if you will. So I started doing a lot of speaking, a lot of training, and back in those days, and this is 20 years ago that I wrote my first book, Stephen King, I Am Not. Mm-hmm. So I wrote a book called The Power of Wow Customer Service, and that kind of launched me into my speaking career in a bigger way, and it gave me some credibility, and I sold a whole schwack of copies, more through good luck than good management. And the career carried on. I started Ron Morris seminars, and that morphed into Morris Interactive. And then not that many years ago, I thought I'm pretty much done. I'm old. And I sold my shares, and then I realized I still had some gas in the tank. So I restarted doing some leadership training. And along the way, I read a couple of books on positive psychology, on this happiness stuff. And I just fell in love with it. So I thought, by gosh, the world needs another book. So I wrote it. And now I'm out there trying to make it happen. Yeah, trying to flog it.
Well, the title is very captivating, Happiness to 40% Solution. And is there a higher percentage that we can aspire to, or how did you come up with 40%?
Well, what a good question that is, and I address that in chapter 2 of the book. There's some things we can and can't control. A few people have asked me in some of the talks I've given, like, why not 100%? You schlep. I mean, I tip 40% for an oil change. Yeah. And it's 40% because 50% is in our genes, if you will. It comes from mom and dad, and we can't control that. Dad might be dynamic Dave or dismal Dave, or he might have Debbie Downer or dynamic Debbie as a mother. So we can't control that. And half of that makes up who we are, makes up our happiness contingent, if you will. And the other 10% comes from our circumstances. I mean, a lot of the things that we can or can't control, for example, your age, where you were born, your gender, your childhood experiences. So those are things that have already passed. We can't control those. But 40%, which is still a pretty good chunk of happiness, we can control that to a degree, given our intentional actions, things that we do on purpose that will or can make us happier. I mean, some people are naturally sunny, some people aren't, but we can still control just about half of our happiness just by taking some intentional steps.
Intentional steps.
So
there has to be a conscious ability to be able to say, gosh, it's raining out, or I've just had a parking ticket, but the soup is on sale across the street at the restaurant. So is it a matter of self-talk, or how do you get that 40%?
Self-talk is part of it. There are some really, really big parts of happiness. The one that really struck me, and it's one of my character strengths, is gratitude. It seems to be that in North America we have a lot of stuff. We have a lot more stuff now than we have ever had, and yet we are less happy than we were in the 50s. So why is that? It's because we're not grateful for what we have. We always seem to want to have a little bit more than what we already have. We're working on what we want to have rather than saying, oh gosh, I've got it pretty good. I've got 3 squares a day, I'm driving a car, I have a nice family, whatever. There are a lot of things to be grateful for, and that's one of the things that really helped me was every day I record 3 things that I'm grateful for from that day. Now, some days there's repeat business, right? If it's 40 below and the wind is blowing at 40 kmh, well, 4 or 5 days in a row, I'll be happy for the furnace. You know what I mean? But there's always something, you know. It's a good interaction with somebody. It's seeing an old friend. It's having a great cup of coffee. It's all sorts of things you can be grateful for. So gratitude is really, really big. And your ability to savor things. We rush through the day, you know. We jump into the shower and we race, and we get the job, whatever. Well, get into the shower and feel the warmth of the water on your skin, and smell the shampoo and the soap, and just really savor it. And in the spring especially, I really like to savor a cup of coffee on my deck. Just sit there and you know, watch the clouds float by and hear the birds chirp and just enjoy the smell of the coffee and the taste. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The one part that I enjoyed in the book was the reference to the lawyer, the aspiring lawyer, and how that, you know, that wasn't enough, so it kept going into the partnership. Can you talk a little bit about that continued chasing of the dream, if you will?
Yes, yeah. No, thank you very much. Yeah, great question. Once again, you hit it right on the right on the head. There's a set of goalposts there, and no matter where we are in the field, the goalposts always seem to move, and we move them. You want a little bit more. There's the saying that, you know, if you work hard, success will be yours. Well, the fact of the matter is, people that are happy get to be successful. You start with the happy first, and then the success will come. You know, I mean, keep your nose to the grindstone and you'll be happy. Well, you keep your nose to the grindstone, you'll have a ground off nose. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're always aspiring to more. If we made the football team, then we want to be the starting quarterback. If we made the cheer team, we want to be the cheerleader. If we got into university, well, we want to graduate to a good job. We got into a little law firm, well, we want to get into a bigger law firm. We're in a bigger law firm, we want to make partner. And every time we're enjoying life less and less and less. We're giving more of ourselves to a dream that we're never going to attain because we are moving those goalposts. What was once a 15-yard chip shot is all of a sudden a 60-yarder into a howling crosswind. So yeah, great question. But yeah, chasing happiness is not the answer. It's getting happy, and success will follow.
I was just going to say that success doesn't bring happiness, and you've alluded to that with how you've described it wonderfully, I might add, because I can understand it. And I would hope that anyone that does pick up the book can kind of do the same thing I'm doing. There's the odd time where I have to go back and read the paragraph because there's those aha moments that I'm experiencing. How did the book, what was the genesis of how you thought, you know, we should write this about this? Where did that come from? Did Karen wake up one day and kind of smack you and say, you know what, you got to do this?
No.
You're darn lucky to have me.
No, no. In fact, I think she woke up and smacked me and said, don't you ever write another book. But I did anyway. Yeah. No, it came from the fact that I really wanted to make a bit of a difference. I think this is a topic that can and will change people's lives for the better if they let it. Believe me when I say I didn't do it for the money. Yeah. Again, Stephen King, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just thought that there was there was just something there that called out to say this should be written. And I wrote in the book, and this is true, when I first started writing this book, and it took me about 2.5 years, including the edits, which shouldn't have been, there were over 40,000 titles with the word happiness in the title.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So I'm hoping that somebody cottons onto this and doesn't pick it up and say, oh, 40%, that's chump change.
Yeah.
Well, that's all you can control, partner, so.
How do you envision this, and what's been your experience with the launch of it? Because it's in a number of stores now. What's your feedback been with people that have had it, or who would you like to see pick it up?
Well, and you're partially correct. When I wrote my first book, getting into stores was easy peasy. Now, every Indigo, Kohl's, Chapters in the country is autonomous, which means I have to make 243 contacts to get that book in there. At this point, I know that I have it or if it's not there yet, it is on the way for certain, in the Indigo on 8th Street. The first company that took my book, and I'm really thankful to them, is Turning the Tide Bookstore on Main Street. Been there for 20 years. I wasn't even aware of it, but they're carrying the book. And soon the Kohl's in Lawson Heights, they've been ordered, and the Kohl's in Midtown Plaza will be carrying it. I have it in a number of stores in Regina, and I've got it in, I have it in more stores in Edmonton than I do in Saskatchewan. I'm working on Calgary actually later on this afternoon. So yeah.
When you see the feedback, I guess, have you had anything that people have said, gosh, I wish I would have read this book earlier, or there should have been something like this for me before?
The feedback has been very positive to this point. I've heard a lot of good things. And one of the surprising things that I heard, and again, this has worked for me, is one word in there. And I say, if you want to lose a lot of stress, bring this word into your vocabulary. And the word is inconvenient. If it doesn't kill you or someone close to you, it's merely inconvenient. You might lose your marriage, your house might burn down, you might be in an automobile accident, and all it really is inconvenient. It might cost a bit of money, but it's inconvenient. You might go bankrupt. Well, that's tough. It's inconvenient. That's all it is. And that one word has really helped me smooth out those waves. It's, oh, it is. Yeah, that's bad, but it's just inconvenient. Yeah.
What would someone do if they wanted to find the book, or how would they find you, or where would they go to get information about it?
Yeah. Well, again, those bookstores. I'm available on Amazon. My Audible book is coming out fairly shortly. But I'd really like to hear from people that have read the book, and they can access that through my website, which it is happinesssolution.ca. So I was sitting with three buddies having coffee one day, and I just got the website, and I said, well, let's find my website. And three of us couldn't find it. There's the three S's, right? The happiness, the two S's, and the S in solution.
Yes.
And it's solution, singular, and then .ca, not .com. So we all made some kind of mistake, but we got it now.
Well, we're going to be checking you out. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you,
and
Randy.
I'm really happy you came.
The happiness is mine.
Absolutely,
Thanks so much.
Yeah. That's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guest, retiring Fire Chief Morgan Hackle, as well as Saskatoon author Ron Morris. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. We'll see you next time on Connect.